today. So
it's exciting. And, you know, I'm kind of excited to see whether we see some air out of the Protoss player, because that seemed to be fairly strong against Zerg, but who knows?
Indeed, but it depends on if he's read the playbook or not, but we will soon find out. But in the upper right-hand corner from Team Gravity coming out after his teammate took a sore loss, it is going to be Korean Air.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, representing Team Complexity Academy, it is Continue with a K.
This is I think we've casted Continue once before, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, yeah.
And we had a nice little discussion about how his name reminds us of Mortal Kombat.
It does. Those are some good days. So the score is going to be 2-1 as indicated by the parallelograms just beneath their names. I do like that word. I taught my 2-year-old son last week to say parallelogram, and that was pretty funny. As well as trapezoid. He enjoyed that word too.
Parallelogram?
He just spit out words and it sounded like things, so it was all good. But it is fun to teach a young child learning the ways of long words, how to say long, hard words, because sometimes they'll surprise you. But in this game, we're going to see what happens here. As drones are being made. Oh, the forge is going down really early in base forge. So,
and there goes the probe.
All right. This is interesting. This is a 4-player map, and it does not force cross. So both players do not necessarily know where their opponents are. But so maybe that would be to the advantage of Continue, or to the disadvantage. We will see, as it looks like he's scouting the lower right-hand corner now. He obviously wants to get a cannon rush off on this expansion.
That's what it would seem like, as the forge is not in the correct placement for a forge fast expand.
No, and also, you know, Korean Air sending his overloads out to the wrong bases to begin with. So, I mean, while he can deduct the location of his opponent, he cannot tell what his opponent has.
That's correct, but that overlord is going to intercept this probe heading across. It's not going to be able to... Oh, is it? Maybe not.
Nope.
It took the opposite direction, the road less traveled, as it heads through the woods.
Close. No, it's not going to be anywhere close, but he's going to sneak up in this base. He's going to see an expansion now, which is what he wants to see. Oh, where's he going to go?
And continue deciding to expand behind this, as he wasn't able to find it right away. He does put down a gateway and a cannon at his front, so he's going to be secure against anything. It looks like he might just turn this into a scout as opposed to a cannon rush.
Yeah, what are you doing, Mr. Continue? I thought maybe he would skirt up the right side here to put a cannon down here, but also probably detecting that this base is too far along to effectively cannon rush, so foregoing that plan and just going to use it to put down a cannon at his front. Not a bad play at all.
No. His wall is a little less than ideal, but he does see that there isn't really much aggression coming out just yet, so he's not too worried about that.
Yeah, and Korean Air does not yet know exactly where his opponent is, but he's going to know fairly shortly here as his overlord is going into the bottom right corner. And when he sees nothing there, it is going to be obvious. There comes down the Cybercore cannon there to block. Next is finishing up, and we're going to see some Stargates possibly?
It's hard to tell just yet, as that cybernetics core is not finished, but he does have 3 in each gas, so that is going to be a lot of gas.
He's going to be quite gassy.
Yes, gas heavy. Like a blimp.
So speed coming down for Korean Air. Lots of drones in production. He does have 2 Zerglings crossing the map. They're going to be poking up in here and seeing cannon.
And having a bad day because of it, most likely.
Oh, Zilla does come out to head them off. Looks like he's going to get a couple whacks in there. Oh, but Korean Air does move them back so as to not lose one. Warpgate comes down right away, as well as a sentry.
Those Zerglings continuing to try and get in. One does fall from a cannon shot.
Overlord taking the position on its little tower.
And it looks like it's going to be a robotics facility out of Continue.
More gateways as well. Gateway going down the front. The Zealot plug in the hole. Looks like he wants to get that sentry to the safety of the inside. But we've got wings coming out for Korean Air, so we'll see what he decides to do here.
Third base from Korean Air as well, so he's going to have a lot of... Are you alright? Woo! Typically, Wingnut has just attempted to be a fish. So he is having a hard time right now, not realizing that evolution has not selected gills for him.
Ooh, all right. Wow, trying to inhale my liquids here.
You need a minute?
Whoa. Well, since this is not replay, we can't pause it, so I am going to have to take my minute here. These Zerglings are coming up the front.
They are sitting out of the front of that base as there is a very strong wall-off happening. And the Roach Warren is going down now for Korean Air with a +1 missile attack happening, but there are Immortals in production out of that robotics facility, a second one queued up behind it, and they are being chroma boosted, so these Roaches are going to have a hard time doing anything, and I mean, they're not even out yet.
He's moving this Immortal out of the way so the Overlord doesn't see it as he comes in with it.
And that Overlord is going to be picked off by these two sentries. So that is going to limit the supply a little bit. But
excuse my violent coughing here.
Hydralisk then coming down behind that as well, so he's going Roach Hydra behind these Lings.
That's a lot of Roaches, 8 Roaches about to pop here as the Hydra Den comes out as well. Upgrades also for the Roaches and Hydras.
The army supply is about equal for both players, but with 2 Immortals for Continue, he's looking pretty good. And these Overlords have managed to spot pretty much all the tech that's happening, does see all these gateways going down.
This is a lot of Immortals here, plus the Warp Prism coming out. I was just going to say that, with this many Immortals, it is difficult to mount an assault from that far away, because it's quite a long walk over there. But with that Warp Prism, we saw this kind of play in the last round that we casted. Not today, but the previous day, just getting that Warp Prism over there for Warpins as well as lifting up those Immortals would just be brutal. Water OP, that's correct.
Definitely
Killer
hard countering Wingnut. At any rate, Continue's force is moving forward now. He does have a lot of sentries and Immortals here. Lings are coming forward, supported by some Roach Hydra. So this is going to be a little bit of the middle map battle here. But it looks like Continue's forces are much stronger. Great force fields going down. Not really able to zone out those Zerglings as much as he would have liked.
Didn't even get any shield damage off of those Immortals. But Korean Air is going to know what's coming out. He's making a ton of Zerglings, 22 in protection as well as 3 Hydras.
And those are going to be pretty good against those Immortals, but he is supplementing that army with more Stalkers and Zealots. The Sentry force still relatively strong.
8 sentries.
And
but he's going to force field that off and get all the Lings out, but a swarm of Lings come from the back.
There's just not enough, though, to get anything done, and the Sentries are in the center, the Immortals are in the center, not a Warp Prism comes forward to help support this army, more Sentries being warped in. Those rocks do fall, and this Hydra is not where it's supposed to be.
Oh, this is going to be nasty. He's making more Roaches than Hydras, but that's exactly what this force counters here with so many sentries, up to 12 sentries now. That's a lot of force fields.
Yeah, the problem is that even with Lings, that it's not really great against this army, as force fields are really strong.
He's
right
going to
now.
get that Warp Prism out of there. The Hydra's taking damage on it, but no, it does survive. But
And
nice
just
force
more
fields there.
zoning, and Korean Air is losing a lot of units without getting a whole lot of damage done.
Yeah, Korean Air's lost over 1,000 more than his opponent so far, but this has been a really strong push, but no production coming down behind it.
At least not for Continue. Korean Air continuing to make Zerglings, continuing to make Hydralisks, and it has a lot of Spine Crawlers in production. 9 are finishing up. He is lifting those up, and he's going to go burrow those at the top of the ramp at his 3rd, and that is going to be really helpful, but he has to get them down before Continue decides to push again, and he is moving up that ramp right now. Guardian Shield goes down, his force fields go down, and it's really zoning that army. He's trying to get back behind the force field so that he doesn't get zoned out. Lings moving forward, trying to take down what sentries they can. They do get a couple of shots off before getting killed, and now those Spine Crawlers are being burrowed.
They are, but with good force field placements, I think, and some tokens, those Spine Crawlers almost aid the force fields because you need that much less to block it off. But now they're moving out here to the middle. The Sentry energy is getting down there. She's got to be real careful with the amount of force field he uses. The Warp Prism is so low in health, it's not going to be very effective for microing, but Continues still doing a lot of damage, still has a lot of Zealots, and he needs to get another Warp in here.
And Continue just being really smart now. He's walking away from where all those Spine Crawlers are. He's trying to push where they aren't to try and zone out again some of that damage. Trying to block off that ramp. But so many Hydras here. and more spines coming down, getting burrowed. Continues just kind of gingerly poking, and he has to spend force fields every time he does that, so that energy on those sentries is getting very low. Continues to resupply, though. He does have, it looks like 15.
Yeah, roach speed coming down
13.
now, as well as 8 more roaches, realizing that there's still only 3 immortals as the sentry and zealot force are getting higher and higher. This range damage is going to be so good, but great force fields zoning out so many of those units, sniping off so many roaches. Now, I mean, the unit's loss is going up for both players, but it's going up faster for Korean Air by just a touch, but he is on 3 bases.
And this warp prism has proved to be so utilitous. He can just move it anytime he wants and then warp in behind and just getting huge damage down. These spine crawlers are a great idea, but they're not really burrowing. So one of them is not burrowing. They are trying to make a wall.
And now those immortals, I mean, the immortals still have not even had their shields taken off of them yet, doing so much damage. I mean, there is a lot of spine crawlers there now, but blocking off the reinforcements from that 3rd base also.
And while this is looking heavily in the favor of Continue at the moment, the unit's lost tab tells a different story. It is not all that much in his favor. He has killed a lot of units, but I mean, that number is inflated by the number of Zerglings, so he's moving forward now and gets great blocks on that ramp. There's just not enough units for Korean Air to be able to get down here and do much damage.
And still these immortals just being immortal. And immortals do a ton of damage to spine crawlers, so you can zone out these units. You can't get up there, but a lot of lings coming back now.
And that's
zealots stuck in the back.
And that's aiding this push for the Hydralisks, the Queens, and the Roaches. The great micro there on that Immortal, but it looks like this push for Continue is coming to a close.
Oh, barely just saved that Immortal with 10 hit points, as he's going to be backing off now. And, you know, this push needed to work a long time ago, because now it's starting to expire.
And he really hasn't, he's gotten a lot of army damage done, but he hasn't really gotten a lot of economic damage done. There's not really been any worker kills.
Yeah, I mean, 54 to 44 right now, so Korean Air is in the lead, but the big thing is he's got a lot more base.
Yeah, and that does make a big difference as you have more places to mine from. So
A couple of stacked force fields there did waste that, but he does have the Zealots down the front taking a little bit from the Zerglings, but the Roaches and Hydra, the Hydra numbers are growing is the issue right now, it looks like.
And he's getting better positioning too, as he can make a concave on this ramp and Continue has to try and attack down it. It's not really working out well for him at the moment, but he is able to keep those Immortals in the back.
I think the reason Korean Air's drone count is actually so low is because he's made so many spine crawlers.
And I mean, he has to keep making drones in order to continue to make them, but he has the minerals, he's got to spend them somehow.
If you look at the food count, I mean, it is staying fairly equal, but oh my gosh, now the big swarm of units with those 2 spine crawlers, the Hydra's doing so much damage to those Immortals.
Oh, and that War Prism finally falls, and there's the
GG.
GG.
Wow, so I mean, that was definitely a big push for Continue. He had that planned out, and I mean, it was looking really scary for a while, but the control of Korean Air.
Korean Air smartly making a lot of spine crawlers in that position, really taking advantage of the fact that he had a lot of minerals. And what can you do if you don't want to use your larvae on Zerglings that aren't going to be very effective? You use your drones to make spine crawlers, and he had a lot of them. And that ended up working out quite well for him.
Absolutely. So.